My rising spirit. With about as many questions as the layers of the earth, a deep feeling heart sinking deeper and deeper into the rocks and soil of the soul, waiting with eager expectation, what will surface before I reach the core of the earth, the core of my being. Where to begin? So many thoughts went into this painting, or came out of it. I'm not sure which inspires which. I guess it really began with a desire to paint the depth of the deepest heart, a poetic phrase that popped into my head with the meaning of a deep feeling heart, a heart that really feels for others, or feels deeply in all ways, like my own heart does. The picture began forming and moving in my mind as a sad girl, digging into her feelings as they dug back at her. She sinks deeper and deeper down into the layers of the earth and all its dirt. It's challenging to sift through rocks. And then, like a divine strike, her heart struck a spring of water buried deep in the earth, and I saw her rising up, her heart being pushed back to her, as if she had lost it and it needed to be returned. Sometimes, when you hit rock bottom, it just seems like you'll stay there forever. Like it's never going to end. Unfortunately, it couldn't feel further from hitting a spring of water that's reviving you. Sometimes we stay at rock bottom for a long time, and then realize we aren't at the bottom after all, as things get worse. You're just on this continual, sinking journey, a spiral of all things you never wanted to experience, going down, reeling and spinning and stuck like feelings. It's easy to see the hope when you can see the whole picture. How the water, the help is actually there, and in the end, everything turns out alright. But in the moment, when you can't see what happens in the future, when you doubt if any water is there at all, there is no hope and no ticket out. That is a really scary place. It takes a lot of courage to honor that place, and a lot of strength to believe in your own resilience before there's any proof. It's a lot of practice to see the beauty in that kind of pain. The lesson I see coming through the strongest with this piece is that without that pain, the strength gained from rising out of it would not have been integrated into her life. Without feeling those intense and overwhelming emotions, the girl would have not had the healing breakthrough that she did. Although I am a firm believer in growth without pain and wisdom with its lessons of change, being taught in joyous ways, I understand the place that pain has in healing. Oftentimes, what has hurt us in the past cannot be completely healed without examining those scarred places and exposing the truth of what happened in the light of current life experience and a more wise perspective that comes with time and age. I've come to appreciate and even be thankful for the pain that I've faced and what still comes my way. It's definitely not always a consistent gratitude, but the freedom on the other side is enough to give you hope for that next trial you face, or enough to inspire gratitude for what you went through. But it's never an instant healing. Even though it looks so quick the way the water shoots up with force and momentum, to some extent it does feel quick. There's a great sense of relief when you first strike the water. It feels like everything is finally falling into place. Everything you've been learning along the way has been building upon itself, and it's just a bit clearer now. But it's never instant. Sometimes you backslide, or you feel just okay, but not as good as you want to feel. It's a circle. You're not just healed all of a sudden. It's a constant digging deep. Being well and then not being well. Being well and then not being well. Going back and forth from sadness to happiness again and again. It's exhausting. And you don't really even know who you are sometimes, or where you are, or where you're headed. Sometimes the good feelings are tainted by fear of sliding back to where you used to be. Or it's challenging to see that place of healing when you're the dirt girl. It's only once you've come through that you can see that place of peace. Or is it? What if we could see the healing before it happened? Maybe that would be enough to jumpstart it. What if we believed the water was there before we actually found it? Would that be enough hope to push through? What if we believed we had the capacity to feel the clarity, the rising, the worship, to feel revived in happiness and joy, in peace and calmness, before we actually felt that way? It's not an easy thing to see or feel the healing when the picture is played out inside of time. You can't see what's happening in the future or how you'll get there. Yet everything is already happening outside of time, so even in your darkest moments, you are at the same time revived and healed. It's all in perception, in the way of seeing. It's a complicated path to be in that place of sadness, I know. Challenging to see what to do next and how to find clarity. It is really hard to believe that you're healed when you're still there in the layers of the past. It's hard to believe that you are the blue water girl who's made it and found the water, found help, found comfort. But the picture is playing out here all at once, all at the same time. This circle has played out 1,000 times in your life already. All it takes is the eyes to see it. The eyes to see how brave and strong you are, how resilient and bold you have been in the past. To really see yourself for who you really are and who you have been in the big picture of things, who you are being called to become. The heart that feels so deeply, believe me, has enough strength to go on. Giving ourselves the time and patience to heal is so important. We must rise up slowly from one bad place to the next, till maybe it's not quite as bad and it gets a little better or okay, or we feel indifferent. Slowly coming up, being drawn up by a strength you can't understand from the inside, to a little better place, and then a little better place, finally to a place of acceptance, gratitude, and even worship. And then the cycle begins again, except this time you're moving on to learn new lessons, and you have all the tools from the lessons of the past to face the new ones with more strength. Oh, how beautiful it is. Redemption, the reviving of the soul. If anything gives me hope, gives me comfort, it's that I will not be abandoned to that deep, dark place. I know that help is on the way. I know that I will be drawn up, risen anew, pushed up by a water, a life force that is so much greater than I, so much greater than I can understand. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I keep to the way. It is good for me that I was afflicted, that I might learn your word. Psalms 119, 67 and 71.